Hacker's Test.
Section 4. You will hear a part of a lecture given by a professor in a business class about a form of effective customer service. First, you have some time to read through questions 1 to 10. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 10.
Good afternoon, everyone. The last few lectures dealt with how important it is for businesses to maintain positive relationships with their customers. Today, we'll quickly review the case study you all read last week. Then we'll continue our discussion on the customer service chapter of our textbook about the service recovery paradox. First, what is service recovery paradox? Well, it is when a negative business situation can be used to create a positive opinion among consumers. Now, the company in the case study you've read about in the textbook ran into a major problem when the line of smartphones it manufactures was discovered to be largely defective immediately after its launch date. Nearly 1 million of the devices had touchscreens that were completely irresponsive. And how was the company able to turn this negative circumstance around? It promised to repair all of its defective phones for free. Additionally, it allowed any customer who purchased one of the devices to get a complimentary upgrade to the latest model when it came out the following year. Interestingly enough, consumer opinion of the company was better than it had ever been after the launch of the defective line. This swing in consumer opinion from negative to positive due to a company's efforts following a service failure is a good example of the service recovery paradox. Some studies even show that overall customer loyalty to a company increases after a negative event that is addressed successfully. The main point here is that a good business knows that an issue with a service or a product is a great opportunity to increase customer loyalty. There's significant empirical evidence showing that customers are generally more pleased when a company shows interest in accommodating their needs. This is mainly because customers believe the company has gone above and beyond to take care of them in a special way. And displaying concern is an important technique for any professional in the customer service field to use. Now that everyone seems to have a good understanding of what the service recovery paradox is, I want to look at the 4 factors that contribute to it. First of all, there's the customer's perceived value of the service or product recovery to consider. Customer needs are unique according to each individual's various desires, so different solutions will satisfy different clients. In our case study, it's important to keep in mind that the free upgrade to the new phone model was sufficient to some customers, but not to others. This is what is meant by a customer's perceived value of the recovery. Second, we can also look at customers' levels of dissatisfaction as every business endeavors to decrease them overall. And customer dissatisfaction, like a customer's perceived value of the service recovery, is always subjective. There isn't a definitive solution for any problem. In the case study, for example, the general opinion of the corporation's products immediately following the defective product launch was largely negative. This indicated a high level of customer dissatisfaction. But high ratings from consumers resulted after the service recovery. This revealed the company's exceptional ability to minimize the number of dissatisfied customers. Next, it's important to consider how much trust a customer places in a business. Although companies rely on growth and new consumers, it is brand loyalty that is a more powerful asset to any company, and sometimes a customer will be less displeased with a company if they have long been loyal to it. And lastly, there's the possibility of customers changing their service. What this means is that customers might switch to a competing business in the event of a service failure. Therefore, companies feel the need to give disappointed customers something to convince them to stay. In the case study, the offer of a complimentary upgrade may have been enough to cause them to remain with their existing company, rather than switch to a competing brand. However, the service recovery paradox isn't applicable in every situation. Customers are typically content when a one-time problem is taken care of. But poor quality products that fail repeatedly don't build consumer trust for companies. So, obviously, if customers continue to run into trouble with a company, satisfaction levels will be lower. However, having service recovery in place guarantees that problems will be taken care of when they arise. Accordingly, service recovery is an essential backup plan for customer service managers. And that's what I want to emphasize for today's lecture. All right, I'll take any questions that you might have at this time.
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.